It was the summer of 2045, a time when the seasons no longer followed the rules. People once knew the sky glowed a burnt orange, but from the thick haze hanging over cities worldwide, every breath felt heavy, weighed down by heat and the pollution that had been creeping across the globe for decades. A young scientist stood at the edge of what had once been a bustling coastal town. The beach, once teeming with life, was now abandoned. The ocean had swallowed the shoreline. She could still see the skeletons of buildings jutting out of the water. Global temperatures had risen by nearly 30°C in the past 50 years, but the effects stacked upon each other until ecosystems began to collapse. Forests turned to deserts. Glaciers melted at unprecedented rates and storms became fiercer, leaving cities devastated and governments scrambling to respond. Scientists like Lila Diaz's parents had predicted this for decades. Conferences were held, promises made but none were enough. Corporations continued extracting fossil fuels. Countries prioritized economic growth. Lila pressed a small device to her wrist to record her thoughts. The temperature today is 48°C. The crops have failed. Projections estimate less than 10 years before global food supplies collapse entirely. Looking at the crack, Earth's water is already scarce in most places. Her voice cracked, but the reality of climate change was far more relentless than anyone had imagined. Lila remembered her childhood in a city that no longer existed, once a hub of culture, now submerged by rising seas. As she walked back toward the camp, she heard the hum of solar panels. The energy crisis had hit hard, and the transition to renewable energy came too late. S-Team was one of the few left working on environmental restoration and trying to slow the damage. That night she lay awake listening to the distant rumble of thunder. Another storm was coming. These violent storms that tore through cities and left wreckage in the Waikiki hurricane had formed off the coast. Lila couldn't get the children in the camp where seasons followed a pattern. What kind of world were they inheriting? A world of survival, of scarcity, where every day was a battle against the elements. Lila picked up her journal and wrote her final entry. We warned, the world grew hotter. We paid the price. This might be the last summer, as we know it, the last summer before everything changes. She put the journal down and stood by the window again, watching as the wind began to pick up, whipping dust into the air. The storm was almost here. The world had run out of chances. This was the future.